Has this happened to you?
Did you eat a tree warrior?
Let's fix that. Before we dive into the counterplay, let's quickly discuss Akuma's main game plan. Akuma has an amazing fireball game that for most characters will force them to make a move, for example jumping over it and of course getting DP'd, or taking that opportunity to get in himself. Utilizing his speed and strong normal pokes such as standing heavy punch, forward medium kick, and crouching medium kick to counter poke and whiff punish moves that the opponent throws out. Leveraging his neutral skips such as OD Fireball and Demon Raid to open up their opponent to get a strike throw mix up. And finally, after getting a knockdown, he will begin to put you in the vortex with this plethora of options on Oki. That being his strike throw shimmy after his light Tatsu sweep combo, his teleport to punish block, parry, and even DI, and his demon raid after his heavy adamant flame. So, what can JP do about this? First, let's discuss his strengths and his weaknesses against Akuma. Since JP doesn't have a DP, his go-to anti-air is his crouching heavy punch. And as you know, that will get eaten alive by his air fireball or demon raid, opening you up getting put into the vortex. JP is at a disadvantage when it comes to his walk speed and his mid-range pokes. He is very susceptible to Akuma's crouching medium kick. I mean, who isn't really? That shouldn't be a surprise. Also, OD Demon Raid can completely negate your zoning after sending him full screen, especially if you are careless with your fireballs. Alright, so after hearing all that, what could JP possibly do? And that's one thing, leveraging his greatest strength, his zoning. Now let me explain. JP has an exceptional zoning game, capable of heavily outzoning most characters, especially Akuma. Akuma has a really good zoning game, but JP's is better. So utilizing JP's tools such as his portal, spike, and OD fireball can force Akuma out of his zoning game. A good Akuma will usually forego his zoning for a more rushdown approach. If you can maintain a sort of competent zoning with JP, Akuma should not be trying to play the grounded zoning game with you. They should be trying to get in your face and rush you down. So now that we got that out of the way, how do we approach this matchup? First things first, like I said, make sure you can actually outzone the Akuma. This advice would be almost useless if you can't even do that. Now, how do you do that? Well, to expand on that, keeping the portals out as long as you can. Keeping the portals out allow you to maintain the ground and even the air game, allowing you to get in their face, allowing you to advance forward without too much fear of him jumping in on you or pressing a button. Another thing you could do is use spikes as meaties and as pokes. This will prevent the Akuma from jumping and using his demon raid on wake up. The last thing you can do is making reads on the fireball pattern to punish with an OD fireball. This can lead to a big combo and you can get a level 3 off of that. Because of Akuma's smaller health pool, if it's a critical art, you can possibly kill him pretty early, which is good. Now that we've established the main pillar of the game plan, how do we deal with this other options, the options that JP is not so good at with dealing with? So Akuma's air fireball, it's a powerful tool to open you up for combos or to continue pressure. But if the Akuma player is careless and likes this option, you have a few choices. I'm gonna go from order from safe to more riskier. Parry and go for a drive reversal. Of course this uses meter, but it's the best option just to get him off you. And of course you can always parry, and if he hits you, you can try to tech the throw. If you can try to delay tech if there's a throw in there or whatever, but parry and going for a drive reversal is your safest and most consistent option to get him off of you. Another thing you can do is go for an air-to-air grab or an air-to-air medium punch. I actually stole that one from Kakeru. Another thing you could do is dash under him and punish. This is very spacing dependent, but it can leave him open for a big punish. This is mainly for Akumas who throw out their fireball carelessly and you are close to them. If you're anywhere beyond like close range, I would not recommend dashing under him. That is not a good option. And last but not least, a riskier option is drive impact. Drive impact is great because it probably nets the biggest reward out of all the options. Thing is though, this is a read and it is preemptive. So if you're going for this, it has to be a read. And of course they can go for OD fireball to counter that. So you want to be careful. So realistically, you're wanting to go for parry as it gives you some meter. And this is your safest end all be all rounded option. All right, now onto his demon raid. This is a great tool for pressure mix-ups and for JP specifically his anti-zoning. The solution for that is not being lazy with your zoning and instead being intentional. What I mean by that is listening to your opponent, asking yourself, what do they do after you put them into the zoning phase? If they sit still after you pull out your portal, you can take that time to approach and gain some footing, gain some ground, push them to the corner, control that space, put their back against the wall so that they can't utilize their pokes as well. And if they like to jump or do anything on wake up, meaty spike is your best friend. Want to wake up with demon raid that counteracts that option. And now finally, the most important part, his neutral. How do you deal with his better walk speed and buttons? The solution is using your crouching medium kick at the furthest range possible. You want to keep him on the edge of this button. And after that, you can leverage your strong position against Akuma in what I call the far mid-range. I would use your high, low, and faint fireballs in this range to mix them up. View them as just pokes if the Akuma is playing grounded. Make sure not to throw these fireballs out carelessly, and occasionally throw out OD fireball. You do this to set up the portal, and then you continue to gain control of the ground and even the air to, of course, push them into the corner. I would argue that getting the portal out is the most important thing. This is actually pertaining to any matchup with JP. Having that portal out is the strongest position you can hold with this character. And if you've gotten the Akuma comfortable with playing on the ground, as you've shown them that the air options are in fact riskier, you can then leverage your zoning and your portals to the best of your abilities. And when you have that portal out and you have them grounded, guess what you can do? Get in their face with some plus frames, your standing heavy kick. Make them guess, mix them up, use your level 2, put them in a position that they don't want to be in. But first you have to show them why they would rather be in that position than being airborne all the time and smacking you in the face. And of course, if you make something happen and you open the Akuma up, because of his lower health pool, you may have to win lower interactions, because Street Fighter 6 is a high damage game. Everyone does a lot of damage in the game, everybody. So if you leverage this opportunity for his 1000 less health, you don't need to win as many opportunities. But at the end of the day, you still need to open him up regardless. And there you go. Now this may seem like a lot of information, so where do we go from here? Of course, not everybody plays the same, so you want to play to your opponent's game and vice versa. Overall, I would say that Akuma has an advantage over JP. Whether it's slight or huge, I'll leave that up for debate, but I'd argue that JP has to play a slower game against him. And even if he plays to his strengths, Akuma still has tools to overcome these options. But at the end of the day, this matchup is far from impossible, and as long as you keep learning and applying from each win or loss, you should see success in the future. Let me know if I miss anything, and thanks for sticking around. All right, take it easy.